Okay. Okay. So, hello everybody, and welcome to the Lord Meher book reading. Another Thursday evening in Mumbai, night, morning, wherever you may be. And for all those joining in Zoom, namaste. And we're going to start reading from page number 1818, where we left over last time. And it says Nasik and Kans. All that you enjoyed in past is today nil. All you have suffered today is nil. It was all illusion. So, when it is our right to be happy, why try to be unhappy by wanting things? And don't want, be happy. If you want, the wanting makes you restless. If you do not get it, you sorry, my page is flickering, so I guess Betty, could you read?
If you do not get it, you are disappointed. If you get it after having it, you don't want it. You don't enjoy it. Therefore, long and be restless for one big thing. Long and want the one thing that will kill all the millions of
Just
other.
read it.
Oh, slower? Slower? Is that what you said?
Just read that whole passage again from the beginning.
Oh, okay. All that you enjoyed in the past is today nil. All you have suffered today is nil. It was all illusion. So, when it is our right to be happy, why try to be unhappy by wanting things? Don't want, be happy. If you want, the wanting makes you restless. If you do not get it, you are disappointed. If you get it after having it, you don't want it. You don't enjoy it. Therefore, long and be restless for one big thing. Long and want the one thing that will kill all the millions of other wants. Long for union. How clear and simple. Try with all your heart. Do not say yes and then not do it. Begin seriously now. You cannot love each other. All right, but try at least to give in to each other. But even this you do not do. Why? Because you are not honest. That is why I love the mad at the Rahuri ashram. They are honest in their insanity. You come from far away to love me and to realize me, but here you have turned into fighting cocks and hens. Let's see. I think I will have to leave you all and go to Nepal or send you all to the Himalayas. So begin by wanting less. Try to love more. Try to have more tolerance. It is sublime happiness all around, and yet everybody is sad, miserable, and suffering. So, do you all promise to begin dying? Each in the group promised to try to live Baba's words. Thereupon, Baba continued, if I find disharmony and find you are not prepared to, quote, die, then it is better that you all pack up and go. You have not come here for name and fame. I have so many disciples from the West, I do not need anybody. I am always alone and always will be until eternity. It is you who need me until you become me. But if you do not try, what is the use? So all begin to try now, or seriously, I will tell you all to leave. Be honest in your trying. There must be harmony, love, and peace. Real harmony, love, and peace, not forced. Unless you are what I want you to be, I cannot give you what I want to. Do not keep the doors closed, pointing to the heart. Keep them open so that when I want, I can enter. Should I continue? Okay. You tell me when to stop. Every time I intend entering, I find the doors closed, all because of useless wants. Begin dying by loving. Promise me if you cannot love one another, how could you love those who torture you? Look how Jesus loved. He saw himself in all. See Baba within. If I say no, do you get angry? When Narina says no, think it is Baba who says no. It is all want, pride, ego satisfaction, all wants. Someone asked, how can we differentiate between needs and wants? Some claim, I need all I want. What is the difference? Baba explained, if you are dying of thirst in the desert, you need water, not lemonade. If you ask for water, it is your need. If you ask for barley water, it is a want. Is it clear? But if you can get good water, it is not necessary to drink muddy water to kill your desire for drinking. Drink good water, neither lemonade nor muddy water, but pure, simple water. Meals were often a source of conflict in Nasik. Jean had to have spinach every day, cooked in a special way. Another wanted beets. One of the group said they should eat only whole wheat bread. Another requested buttermilk at a certain time each morning. Baba had instructed that Rano and Delia were to have cream every day. Others wanted it also. During this meeting, Norina brought up the question of meals, and Baba commented, you have all promised to try your best to die. So let us begin with food. Let us have no more clashes about food. Let Norina go on giving the same as before. You, pointing to Norina, are much too blunt, and for the role of mother, you ought to be more gentle. Be one without duality. Be gentle. Listen to all suggestions. If you can fall in with them, good. If not, kiss and say no gently. This is tact. It hurts if you are too frank sometimes, and this I do not want. So I repeat, all begin to try now, or seriously, I will tell you to go back home. And be honest in your trying. There must be harmony, love, and peace. Real harmony, love, and peace, not forced. Petty things take up all your energy, thoughts, and time. No more of that. Love and forget. This is the only thing that matters. Love. Always try to love. You do not like Norina being so blunt. Love her all the more. She needs it. If she finds you weak in your wants, then she too must love you. You need it. If a mother found her child sick or weak, she would fondle it more, love it more. So if any one of you is weak, the rest of you should love that one more. By weak, I mean taken up with desires. Anger is weakness. Pride is weakness, and so on. So all try. As Kaka says, no discuss, just try. After a brief pause, Baba continued, from today, I want every one of you to sit silent and alone for 5 minutes and try to look within. This 5 minutes is not meditation. It is just a looking within. How to do this? Sit in a relaxed position. Don't think of anything, not even of Baba. Close the eyes and mentally look within and imagine yourself as infinite. Let the idea that you are infinite remain for 5 minutes. How do you imagine yourself infinite? You can imagine the infinite as sky, ocean, or vast emptiness, and let this one thought be in your mind, that you are infinite within. Continue your 1-hour meditation as usual every day according to individual instructions. And when I am here, half an hour's silence with me in the evening. Also from today, this extra 5 minutes of looking within. It is very important for me to help you and to give you what I want to give. That evening, Baba called all together to sit with him in silence outside on the lawn. He spelled on the board, tomorrow, and then elaborated, tomorrow we will have silence in the evening, but under one condition. That is very important, that you do not look around at one another, but only look at me and feel as if you are alone with me. You should do it naturally without strain. You must not feel conscious of your bodies. Let the head be the center of your body. When it is, then you forget your body and you can think of me. Will Beckett asked, what should I do if I feel pressure in the head? Baba replied, relax as if going to sleep. Close your eyes. If you can look at me in such a concentrated manner that you forget your body, it is best. If you do not close your eyes, look at me, but be so immersed in me that you forget your body.
Thank you, Betty, for reading. Eugene, can you read next, please?
You're muted, Eugene.
I leave it to you. What I mean is that I work internally for the world. And if you, while meditating, forget your body and concentrate on me, you share in the work. My work and I are inseparable, like the rose and its fragrance. Both are inseparable. But the rose is not the smell, and the smell is not the rose. The thorn and its pricking are inseparable, but the pricking is not the thorn, nor the thorn the pricking. Baba expounded on creation and its ultimate purpose and ended by stating, God has power, bliss, light, and peace, but he wants to express himself. But to express himself, consciousness must be gained. Therefore, to gain consciousness, all this fun has started. I love the fun, yet in this fun, I suffer infinitely. Someone asked, why is there suffering? Baba gave this succinct reply. Suffering is essential for the elimination of the...
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, I've got it. Here you go.
Baba gave this succinct reply. Suffering is essential for the elimination of the ego, just as it was necessary for you to scrub and scrub to wash the stain from my coat. Papa Jasawala's heart had bowed at Baba's feet upon witnessing the glorious spectacle of the master's birthday celebrations. He returned to Nagpur and sent his family to Nasik for 2 months during the summer. His wife, Gaimai, eldest son, Erich, 20, daughters, Manu, 19, and Meru, 17, and a younger son, Merwan, 7. They arrived in Nasik around 15 April 1937 and resided at the Pishi Phipson Sanatorium near the retreat. There's a note there, Betty. Could you click on it?
Sorry. Okay. Should I read that? Sanatorium.
Yeah,
Oh, yes. The sanatorium was a series of guest houses where people came to rest, as Nasik has a salubrious climate. That must be it.
Erich was studying in college and would visit MEHER retreat with his family. On one occasion, Baba introduced him to his Western lovers. Baba asked him, "What do you want to become?" Erich replied that he wanted to study engineering at a college in Benares. "What will you do by becoming an engineer?" Baba asked. He sent for Kaka and spelled out to Erich. Kaka was quite a big engineer in the Tata company. Ask him what he did after becoming an engineer. The Mandali were expert at catching Baba's hints and would say anything to please him in a ruse. Taking the hint, Kaka said, "Engineering is totally useless. One may follow any vocation in the world, but to become an engineer is a sin. I was faced with so many difficulties in my job. I wanted to die. There is no worse profession on earth than engineering." Baba then asked Erich, "Did you hear what Kaka says about engineering? Why don't you become my engineer instead?" Erich replied that he would see what happened. Crafty. Erich was very strong physically. One day in Nasik, Baba asked Erich to massage his legs. While Erich was rubbing the muscles, Baba asked, "Do you know everything?" Erich answered proudly, "I have learned many things." "Do you know how to swim?" Erich said, "Yes." "Will you swim in my ocean?" Erich burst out laughing. Baba then directed him, "If you know everything, repair my chappals and bring them back within 3 minutes. One of the leather straps had come loose, and Erich took the sandal, thinking, "If I don't stitch it in time, Baba will claim I was only boasting." He approached Franny and asked if there was a sewing machine in the house. She pointed it out, and Erich proceeded to begin repairing the leather strap. Franny's children, Meru and Nagu, watched noisily as Erich fixed the sandal. Erich told them to be quiet. He sewed the sandal and went back to Baba in 7 minutes. Baba examined it and gestured, "Good, but you took so long." "The proper tools were not available," Erich replied. Baba congratulated him on doing a good job and then asked, "Do you know carpentry, tailoring, cobblery as well?" "Yes, I do," said Erich. "My parents have taught me many things." Baba appeared pleased and praised Erich's abilities. While staying at Nasik, Baba called the Jessawalas to Rahuri on 26 April and showed them the ashram and explained his work there. When Baba bathed the musts, he kept Erich by his side. In Rahuri, nearly 200 patients a day would come seeking treatment at the MEHER free dispensary, run by Dr. Nilu with the help of Jalbai. The patients, mostly poor and illiterate villagers were treated well, and at times Baba would also help. He would keep a watchful eye on their treatment and come to the clinic to meet them. The patients would wait for Baba's visits, and his presence would give them joy and minimize their suffering. One day, a poor woman came to the dispensary with a maggot-infected head injury. The wound was deep and very painful. She shouted, "Meher Baba, I want Meher Baba's darshan. I wish to see him before I die. Please call him." Baba came that day from Meherabad, and when he arrived, he gently took the woman in his embrace. She became absolutely quiet, and a glow of relief spread over her face. She stared up at Baba and sighed with a sweet smile. After half an hour, the woman was noticed to be in a deep sleep, but it was the sleep of death. Age was touched and noted. What peaceful sleep following the joy of meeting her Lord. It was a sleep that freed her from misery and by God's touch gained her emancipation. Fariduni Rani of Bombay came to Rahuri one day to see Baba. He was in a disturbed state, for he had a quarrel with his business partner and demanded a certain sum to settle the matter. The partner wished to pay him only so much, but Faridun wanted more. Faridun told this to Baba, who advised, "Accept whatever he offers." Faridun protested that it was unfair to accept partial payment, and he was set on going to court in order to recover the full amount owed. "Don't get involved in such trouble," Baba warned, "otherwise you will repent." But after returning to Bombay, on the advice of his lawyers, Faridun filed a lawsuit in court, with the result that he not only lost the case and did not receive what was first offered, but he was ordered by the judge to pay the other party's expenses as well. Only then did he realize what the consequences were of going against Baba's advice. He did indeed repent for his foolishness. Baidul was in charge of cooking in the Rahuri ashram and would daily prepare pumpkin, simply because it was inexpensive and easy to cook. Baidul was a very disciplined individual with a firm will. He would get up at 3 a.m. and by 5 a.m., the day's food was ready. Afterwards, he would occupy himself with bathing the musks and mad and feeding them their food. The other men Mandali were fed up with this same unappetizing diet of only pumpkin. Yet despite their demands that he serve an assortment of other vegetables, Baidul would not listen. Ghani could not stand the food anymore. To taunt Baidul, Ghani composed a humorous ghazal titled "Baidul Seth Cooks Pumpkin" and gave it to Babu to sing. It had verses such as, "Baidul Seth, an absolute bumpkin. Every day he cooks nothing but pumpkin."
Oh, is there more?
That's it.
Darn.
Babu had been hired by Baba to sing before the musts and mad, to entertain them and keep them in a congenial mood. Most loved listening to music, and some of the more eccentric inmates liked Babu's singing so much they would mimic his songs throughout the day. One evening, Babu sang this new ghazal before Baba, which made him laugh. Baba inquired who the illustrious composer was and how it had come to be penned. Thus, the whole story menu and Ghani's satirical attack on it. My text is, oh good, it's back. Ghani's satirical attack on it came to light. But even this ribbing left Baidul unaffected, and he went on cooking pumpkin. Baba, however, soon intervened and advised him to cook different vegetables each day. Ghani's ghazal had meanwhile earned such fame that it began being sung in Rahuri village. One day in Rahuri, in an exceptionally good mood, Baba himself composed this rhyme, which he said described Rao Saheb in its first couplet and Ghani in the second. Lived ever there a man who did nothing but grumble, who always acted proud, although he appeared humble, whose body sought all comforts, but whose mind was all a jumble, who never saw a hole in which he did not tumble. On 12 March 1937, Baba found out that Ghani was studying a book to learn how to read people's minds. In a teasing mood, Baba asked him, "What will you do when you learn this?" And he replied, "I will go to Japan and earn a lot of money." Baba spelled out, "Your idea is splendid, but why are you so selfish? Did you ever think of helping me? I am in dire financial straits at the moment." So Ghani said, "If you give me the power to read minds, I will give you 50% of whatever I earn." All right, Baba agreed, but for you to gain that power, you will have to remain on milk for 1 year. Thereupon, Ghani was christened Professor Agansi, meaning the lazy one. Ghani consented to the fast, and at the Meher Mandali Maintenance Trust meeting in the evening of 16 March at Rahuri, an agreement was drawn up between Baba and Ghani. Its conditions were, for 1 year, Dr. Ghani should take nothing but 2 glasses of milk, with or without sugar, 1 glass of tea, and any amount of water every day. He should smoke not more than 5 cigarettes per day.
Thank you, Eugene. That was very, very fun. Rosalie, can you read next, please?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay, all right. How about Marvin? Would you like to read next?
There we go. Okay. He should not go out of the compound at Rahuri under any circumstances. He should not ask for money except for Baba's work. This agreement begins from the 1st of April, 1937, and ends on the 31st of March, 1938. On 31 March, Baba promises to give Ghani the 2 things he wants, clairvoyance and clairaudience, and will send him to Japan as Professor and also make him so advanced spiritually as to do Baba's work over there until Ghani is realized. Jalbai then mentioned this point. We are all well aware of the good doctor's penchant for fine food. Suppose he dies within this period. Who will pay his funeral expenses? So Baba directed Ghani to beg 1 rupee from everyone. Obtaining 40 rupees, Baba handed the sum to Daki with instructions. If Ghani dies on 27 April, use these rupees 40 to pay for his last rites. The odd agreement was signed the next day by both Baba and Ghani before the mandali. Ghani began fasting on milk from the 1st of April, but within 2 days, he started complaining. Baba, it is too hard to drink only milk. My sweat smells of milk. My breath smells of milk, and I am even urinating milk. It is only for a year, Baba replied. Think of how much you will earn after that, and that will help me also. Have a little patience and complete the fast. Just 2 days after this, Ghani felt so weak, he was unable to get out of bed. He entreated Baba, this agreement will be the death of me. Forgive me and let me take food. But Baba replied, remember, you're part of the bargain. You signed the agreement before witnesses. I promise to stick to my end. Exactly after 1 year, I will give you the powers you want. But if you break your promise, don't blame me. But I will die, moaned Ghani. I have a solution so you won't, proposed Baba. Calling Daki, Baba sent him to Ahmednagar with instructions to have a funeral bier built and to bring it to Rahuri as soon as it was ready. Daki did so, bringing the coffin platform after a week or so. At 3 p.m. on the afternoon of 20 April, Baba dressed Ghani in a kafti made of old gunny sacks and put a turban made of straw on his head. He then asked him to recite lines from the Fatiha, the Islamic oblation for the dead. Raising his hands toward the sky, Ghani recited the prayer in earnest, and Baba too joined in. Thereafter, Baba laid Ghani on the bier, which the mandali lifted on their shoulders. Baba urged Ghani to sing the song of the funeral procession very loudly. Ghani slowly chanted, an Arabic saying, which means, there is no God but God, the All-Merciful, and Muhammad is his prophet. The bier was carried around Rahuri ashram by the men, and when it was put down, Baba declared, now Ghani won't die as foreordained on the 27th. Despite Baba's pleas, Ghani had broken his fast within 6 days, and Baba remarked, what am I to do now? I promised to give you powers and also to keep you alive. But now that you have not adhered to your promise, what is to be done? Had you earned much money, I would have been happy, for I would have gotten half. For that reason, I was helping you. Scroll. Enough of this, cried Ghani. Had you really wanted to help me, I would not have passed through such horrible times. In fact, I was about to die. I really was about to die. Baba gestured incredulously. What are you saying? I was helping you. I understand you now, Baba. You would never help in something like this. You are perfect God and very, very shrewd. May God save one from a God like you. We have a footnote there.
Ghani would often remark to Baba, Tum gak ho, you are shrewd.
Baba broke into a smile and laughed silently. Embracing Ghani, he gestured. Don't worry, Professor Ugansi. I am always with you, and you are very dear to me. Such was the master's humor. Baba then left for Nasik. Photo with Baba dictating. It might be Deshmukh or
No, that's
oh,
Ghani. That's
Ghani.
Ghani.
Ghani,
Yeah.
Dr. Ghani.
With
No.
the big head, the big forehead. You can
Right.
kind of, yeah.
Actually, it does say it in caption.
Yeah.
Sam Cohen of Oceano, California, arrived in Bombay aboard the Conte Verde on 20 April 1937 and was met by Chanji and taken to Nasik the same evening. Malia Rudaya returned from touring India the next day and began staying in room 5 of Sarzat. Other close lovers from Europe, such as Quentin Todd, Christine McNaughton, Anita DeCaro, Mabel Ryan, Alfredo and Consuelo Cedes, and Gana Walska were also to come and join the group at MEHER retreat in Nasik, and it was for them that Baba had proposed the additional quarters be built. Footnote:
This group from Europe was later informed not to come since Baba was intending to visit France in 1937 and the additional building was canceled. Quentin Todd was working as a choreographer in London and gradually drifted away from Baba.
The West
With Baba, whoopsie, I got a little more, and died in London in 1947. Margaret, however, met him a few weeks before he passed away, and he admitted to her, "I still love Baba. I made a mistake behaving as I did." It was a long footnote. Go ahead.
the Westerners were still visiting Meherabad every 2 weeks, starting late at night to avoid traveling in the heat of the day. On one occasion, Rano, Margaret, and one other person had sore throats.
Can I just interject a little bit more about Sam, he was part of the Do-Nights. Baba had gone to stay at their colony on Christmas Day, 1935, I believe. And Sam Cohen, nobody could understand how he managed to afford to go to India. And it was that because he was one of these kind of bohemians who had no money. Elizabeth and Norina had funded his trip to India. Also, Malia, it's Rudyard. She's wife of Dane Rudyard, who was an astrologer, also on the West Coast. So that's all.
Okay. Next page. Norina sent a telegram to Baba that it would be better to cancel this trip since so many were ill. Baba cabled back in no uncertain terms. "Unless everyone comes, I will send all of you back to the West." Rano had a rash and fever too. The doctor advised her not to go, but she said, "If Baba is calling me, I am going." Only Nani stayed behind, as Baba had previously ordered her not to come because she was still on a 40-day fast. Baba gradually had the Eastern and Western women get to know one another. Mani even staged a skit for the Westerners during one visit. English words were taught to Tani and Bagu, maidservants at Meherabad, and the Westerners were much amused to hear their attempts at conversation. Another Easterner learning English was Walu. She was the daughter of an upper-class village family with landed property, yet she had profound humility and did all types of lowly jobs wholeheartedly, and was a wonderful example of selfless service. When Mera first met her, Walu was wearing elaborate gold ornaments around her neck and wrists. But when Walu went to live with the women Mandali, she gave up all worldly riches to be near Baba and dedicate her life to serving him. Baba wanted the Westerners to see what a simple life his Eastern women were leading. During one of their visits, he urged them, "I wish you to breathe in the atmosphere here and absorb as much as you can." In Nasik on Friday, 23rd April, Baba gave an explanation about the 7 spiritual planes and also stated, "I am in Sahaj Samadhi every second. This state means I am everywhere, I am in everything, I am in everyone. That is why to know me, you have to realize the self. You see me ordinarily in the physical body, but I am in samadhi. When you see through deep down into yourself, there you will see me as the infinite one. Then you see me in everyone and everything. It is all Baba. God only is. Samadhi is a bluff. God is real, and everyone and all else is God too. You cannot limit God by saying God is this or that. God is just God. Illusion is God. God is not one or two, but just God. Nothing, everything are so merged in each other that you cannot say this is nothing or this is everything. Nothing too exists, but it is illusion. What is it? It is God. Is it clear? God is God. When you realize me, you know, and this knowing is permanent. The only sign of God realization is that when one becomes united with God, one knows everything, everything as God. One can do anything. One does not know everything by the mind, one just knows. You are God now, but you do not know it. I am God, I know it. Someone asked if each one has to go through all the 7 planes. In reply, Baba spelled out, a perfect master does not make you go through each plane. He takes you past them all. And the fun is you do not go, quote unquote. You just stay where you are. Just as now you get up, go out, and walk about. You think you go, but you are everywhere. Your mind takes this body, but you are everywhere. Therefore, long for union with God. Do not bother about planes or samadhi's powers. Long for union and be patient. Once a master told a disciple that to attain to the highest, you have to be bound hand and foot on a plank of wood and then be thrown into a river without getting your garments wet. This poor man could not understand. He wandered around and around until he came to another saint and asked the meaning of this. The saint said, it means you have to long for union intensely, as if you could not live another moment without it, and yet have the patience of billions of years. So I say, long for union and be patient. The longing is a gift of God, so also the grace. You do as I say, have that longing, then I will help you in it, because it is all me. I give from here, pointing to his heart, and I receive from there, pointing to their hearts. Remember, love is the highest aspect of God.
Thank you, Marvin. Diana, would you continue reading?
Sure. On Saturday, the 1st of May, 1937, the Westerners visited Meherabad. Baba took them and the Eastern women on a picnic to a grove near Arangown. Sidhu and Pandu, a driver, remained at a distance on watch. Rana was still unwell and had stayed behind with Nani, Will, Delia, and Malia. We have a photo here of Baba with Mera on a picnic near Meherabad in May of 1937.
Beautiful. Wow.
Baba's in the hammock, that picture.
Okay.
Before returning to Nasik, Baba took the Westerners to see the film Born to Dance at the Sarosh Cinema in Ahmednagar. We have a footnote.
Oh, sorry. Born to Dance is a musical about a sailor who falls in love with a girl, played by Eleanor Powell, and features songs by Cole Porter, such as I've Got You Under My Skin. When in Nasik, also Baba would take the Westerners to watch a movie at Circle Cinema. all.
In the middle of the film, Margaret suddenly got a terrible headache and felt nauseous. When she asked for an aspirin, Baba asked what was wrong. Margaret told him, but oddly enough, as soon as she said the words, "I have a headache and feel nauseous," the pain left her and she felt completely all right. The group had tea and cakes at the Sarosh canteen and left at 9, reaching Nasik at midnight. One group, however, consisting of Nadine, Malcolm, Ruano, Sam Cohen, and the driver, did not make it back to Nasik that night. Their car broke down an hour from Rari, and they had to spend the night under the stars. The next day, Norina cabled Baba about those who were ill, and he cabled back that he would be coming to Nasik that night. Baba had especially come to be near Rano during her illness, for her case was the most serious. Baba arrived at 8 p.m. and saw all those who were feeling sick. The doctor said Rano had typhoid, and Baba immediately arranged for her to be alone in the room next to Nani's. The usual record playing sessions after lunch in the living room were stopped since Rano needed rest and quiet. A diet was outlined for her, and Baba put Ruano in charge of looking after her. Baba then walked over to Sarzad and visited Will Backett, who was also sick in bed. After sitting with him for a few minutes, Baba went out for a walk alone. The next morning, Baba appeared concerned about Rano. He informed the group that she was seriously ill and repeated that he wished them not to disturb her, to keep a quiet atmosphere, and not to visit her. Baba then declared, "What is sickness? What is death? But Maya's glimpses. Die before death, and you will live forever." He also said, "Be bound by freedom. Be attached to detachment. That means have desires, but be their That means have desires, but be their master, not their slave. Catch, but don't be caught. Like putting on a coat when you feel cold, but free to take it off when you feel hot. Everything you do, put your mind to it and then forget it. Do not be attached to what you do." That day, Monday, the 3rd of May, 1937, Baba gave each person a 15-minute interview. The following is Malcolm Schloss's account. Baba asked Malcolm, "How is everything?" "That you know better than I," said Malcolm. "Are you writing?" "Oh, yes. Only please don't expect me to be permanently interested in anything but union with God." "No, only that is real. All else is illusion. Union is like the sun. It is permanent. All else is like the clouds that come and go." "I have had you much in mind since your letter. You are right when you say that ecstatic experience is not enough. The veil must be completely lifted. It is not enough to puncture it here and there with holes. I have everything chalked out. First, Jean must have a complete overhaul here. Until that is over, she will need you. When that is over, and it will be by August, I will start cutting Malcolm's ego to pieces." "Good," Malcolm answered. "You will have union, but at what price? Is there any price too great to pay for union?" "No," Baba replied, and then asked if he would be willing to fast on water for 3 months. Malcolm agreed. At 4:30 p.m., Baba went to where the Jasawalas were staying, Behek bungalow at the sanatorium, and had tea with them. Later that evening, a poor man from Malabar in South India came to see Baba. The following conversation took place. Baba asked, "Do you have a family?" "No, I only have my father. I am alone," the man replied. "You mean to say that you are all alone?" "Yes, I am alone here." "When are you not alone?" asked Baba. Thinking for a few moments, the man replied, "I am always alone." "Then you are very fortunate." "How?" "Only God is alone. If you feel yourself to be alone, you are very lucky." The man looked confused and Baba explained, "You are not alone. You have many friends like the mind, desires, thoughts, sexual urges, which are always with you. They are really your enemies. Were you really alone, you would be like God. God is alone and I am alone. Now tell me, what do you really want?" The man answered, "I want to serve my country, but a disappointment and a sad love affair frustrated my plans. I want to fulfill my plans and have peace of mind." Plans and peace, these two can never go hand in hand. Where there is peace, there is no plan. Where there are plans, there is turmoil. Either give up plans and have peace, or have your plans and give up thoughts of peace. You can't have both. That is impossible. People suffer because they want the impossible, the unattainable. You want to stand in the fire, and at the same time, you do not want it to burn you. You want to build a house in a graveyard. So you should give up your beloved and try to serve your country. That will gradually take you to the goal. What's the good of self-realization if we cannot serve our country and people? Baba laughed. You are sadly mistaken. Once realized, then alone you could really serve your country and do good to others with the knowledge, power, and bliss. What you need is castor oil for 1 month. That will clean out your stomach and bowels, and your mind will be clearer. You will then be able to think clearly, calmly, and coolly, and accordingly do the right thing. Cleanse your insides, be peaceful, and think good thoughts. Those present smiled at Baba's advice to the simple man, given with tongue in cheek. On Tuesday, the 4th of May, 1937, in the living room before breakfast, Malcolm asked Baba, "What is the difference between destiny and fate or chance?" Baba answered, "Destiny is the divine law or will which guides us through our numerous existences. Every soul must experience happiness and unhappiness, virtue and vice, from the very commencement of its evolution up to that goal which is the realization of God. Fate is based on karma, that law of cause and effect which governs the events of our present life as well as those of our future lives. Through evolution, the soul receives, by means of the spirit, the impressions or sanskaras. The processes which create the experiences and later the elimination of these impressions can be called fate, fortune, luck, or chance. Destiny, or the goal that souls have to attain, is the realization of God. But actually, fate is different for every individual. If you can imagine, we can compare destiny to a load of 700 tons of happiness and unhappiness, vice or virtue, which every soul has to carry through its existence. One soul carries 700 tons of iron, another soul the same weight in steel, others lead or gold. The weight is always the same, only the kind of matter changes. The impressions of each individual vary, and the acquired sanskaras form the structure and the condition of the future life of each individual. Hence, destiny is one, but fate is varied and different for each. The next day, Baba gathered the Westerners and explained more about the functioning of sanskaras. Rano had been suffering a very high temperature since the end of April. Her face was swollen. She had a rash on her chest and her skin itched. The doctor told Baba that there was little hope for her survival. Baba called Nilu from Rowari, who properly diagnosed her illness as scarlet fever. Nilu began treating her according to Baba's advice. When in Nasik, Baba would look in on Rano 2 or 3 times a day. When he entered her room, he would remove his sandals outside the door and enter barefooted so that he might not disturb her if she was asleep. Once Baba came when Rano was asleep. When she awoke, Nani informed her that Baba had come, that she was sleeping. Rano's prompt response was, "Well, I'm awake now." Baba would hand Rano medicine and sometimes spoon feed her orange juice. Once, while during her recuperation period, someone's birthday was celebrated and ice cream was served. Rano asked Baba to let her have a little. "No," he gestured, "ice cream will be bad for your throat." "But they gave ice cream for tonsillitis," she pleaded. "Besides, my throat is all right." Baba again said no. But later, he came to Rano's room and gave her a smidgen of ice cream he had put on his pinky. Nilu had been ordered to take Ranu's temperature 7 times a day. When away, Baba was cabled about her condition every day. Baba had ordered Rano not to set foot out of bed.
Thank you, Diana. Pia, would you like to read next, please?
Yeah.
We can't hear you, Pia.
We may not have a sound.
Oh, okay, we can hear you.
That was Mahu.
Oh, sorry, Mahu. Okay, Mahu, would you like to continue?
Yes, I can. If you can bear along the tone of my voice is still. So this is page happens in Nasik, India, year 1937. Finally, her fever came down, and by the 6th
Mahu, your sound went very low.
Oh, hold on. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Hope it's not too loud because I increased the volume of my speaker. Is that okay?
That's fine. You sound great.
Okay, so I start again. Page 1833. Finally, her fever came down, and by the 6th of May, after 6 weeks of illness, she showed every sign of recovering. Ranu once recollected, quote, "I was so hampered, I didn't miss nothing, not being with the others. Perhaps Baba needed someone immobile for 21 days, like spending 40 days in a circle." After Ranu, Baba remarked to her, quote, "I have saved you for my work. Had I not been here when you were sick, you would have died," end quote. On Wednesday, 5th July 1937, Baba gathered the Western men and women and narrated this short tale illustrating obedience. Once a master asked his disciple to wake him at 5 a.m. by knocking on his door. The disciple kept vigilantly awake all night until 4:55 a.m. He then dozed for 10 minutes and awoke at 5:05 a.m. Meanwhile, the milkman, who used to come every day at 5 o'clock, arrived at his usual time and knocked on the door. The master said, "Open," and the universe was opened to the milkman. But this was ordained, not just chance. Realization is never a matter of chance. It is such a big thing. It is all chalked out, all planned beforehand.
Mahu, that was 5th May 1937. You had said July.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. 5th May. Yeah, that was 5th May 1937. I apologize. I'm still in July. Before leaving that afternoon, Baba called the Westerners into the living room and asked Tom to play some phonograph records. After listening to a few, Baba indicated he would like to hear a certain Paul Robeson song. Baba then instructed the group, quote, "As you listen to the music, try to picture me hanging on the cross. Try to visualize it. Don't force it. Just try to see it in your mind's eye," end quote. The group tried, and most of them ended up in tears. Afterward, Baba asked what they had felt. Elizabeth said, quote, "Just before you asked us to meditate on this image, I was looking at you lying on the sofa and imagined you with nails through your feet," end quote. Baba repeated again that they should meditate on this image as the music continued. Baba left at 4 o'clock, Adi Senior, for Rahuri, where there was much work for him to supervise, connected with shifting all the inmates of the ashram, masts, and mad to Mehrabad. Roll down, please. And this beautiful photo of Baba with Jean Adriel, Franny, Kitty, Delia, Margaret, Norina at Nasik Ashram. The Rahuri Ashram had taken on a 5-year lease from Marwari named Lax. Baba wished to have more land for his use and sent Dake and Kalemama to arrange this.
Mahu, we're having a hard time hearing you again.
Okay, why don't you switch to someone else? I don't know what's going on with my speaker, but nice reading.
So we read that paragraph again?
What paragraph, Betty Loman?
The last one, the Rahuri
Do you
Ashram.
want me to continue reading or you want me to stop? And I take from Eva. Eva, what do you want me to do?
It's okay, Mahu. We'll ask someone else to read because your audio is not coming clear. Thank
Okay,
you.
that's sure, welcome.
Okay, shall we go on? Do it. Eva, shall I go on or not? Read the paragraph? Where is Eva?
Yeah, go ahead, Betty.
Who shall read?
I can start reading. Is it, they went to Laxminar Orion's home on 14 April 1937, but he refused to lease more of his property or sell the entire property outright for any amount. He was not in need of money, he said, and the mango orchids had been in his family for generations. The owner already thought he was being paid less than a fair rental price and was generally uncooperative towards the needs of the ashram. Laxmin Orion was living on his farm next to the ashram. He irrigated it with well water drawn in a large leather skin bag pulled by a pair of bullocks. One of the bullocks had a wound on its back, which had become septic and was not healing. Baba noticed the injury to the animal and suggested to the Marwari several times not to work the beast so hard and to take it to the veterinary hospital for treatment. The Marwari promised to do this, but did nothing. Baba instructed Kalamama and Ak, when they met Laxminarayan, to prevail upon him and remind him that mercy was the fundamental principle of the Hindu religion. He should have mercy on the animal and get it treated or purchase another bullock. Dahaki and Kalimama tried to persuade him at length, but the man would not agree and countered, "I simply cannot afford to spend 200 rupees to buy another bullock just to satisfy your humanitarian instincts." And he asked the Mandali not to meddle in his affairs. Some days later, the Marwari came to Baba. He had no children and requested Baba to grant him the boon of a son. Baba promised, "You will surely get a strong and handsome son." The Mandali now thought, since Baba blessed him, that the Marwari would give the bullock a rest, but they found out that he did not. As stated, Baba wished to extend the Rahuri ashram and needed more land for the purpose. Because the Marwari had refused to lease or sell more land, Baba ordered the Rahuri ashram dismantled. All the furnishings and material from the temporary structures began being moved to Meherabad from 19 April. And even the brick Rahuri cabin was also taken apart and reassembled at Meherabad. Curiously, it began raining unseasonably on the 18th as Pendu began the disassembly of the structures. And the Mandali recalled that it had also rained at Meherabad and Toka on the days those ashrams were disassembled. On Sunday, 2 May 1937, Baba sent 2 buses packed full of materials to Meherabad and enclosed this note to Pendu. 2 buses are herewith sent. Both of them contain material of my dismantled room, plus tatas and vases, bamboo curtains. Use the tatlas and vases and keep the material of my cabin separate and untouched by anybody. No more trips today. On the 6th, I come with the material and with the mandali and mad. Arrange for meals and milk for the additional 5 mandali from the 6th. I will arrange for the mad and their guardians. All structures must be ready by the evening of the 5th. Some of the mad were returned to their homes or local villages. The rest, including the musts, numbering 13 persons, were then brought to Meherabad from Rahuri by Baba on 6 May. They were housed in Lower Meherabad in an improvised structure, which Baba had instructed to be built in an open area south of his Japoti. A separate fenced compound was erected around the structures. The Rahuri land had been leased for 5 years, and the full amount had been paid in advance. But because of the landlord's unaccommodating attitude, Baba demolished and closed the ashram within 9 months, and he did not ask for a refund of the amount when he shifted to Meherabad. The entire populace of Rahuri, as well as the local government officials, expressed their regret at the prospect of Baba's departure and offered to put pressure on Lakshminarayan, but Baba advised against it. Baba had assured the Marwari that he would have a son, and accordingly, his wife soon became pregnant. The man was full of happiness because of this, but he was never to see the face of his child. On 14 July 1937, he went on horseback to a nearby village. On the way back, while crossing the river at Rahuri, sudden monsoon floodwaters overwhelmed him and carried him away. He was drowned. His body was found 2 miles away. Months later, his wife gave birth to a son. Sampath Iyengar's cousin, C.V. Charlu, 65, had been in the master's contact since Baba visited Madras for his birthday celebration in 1930. He had an ardent desire to join Baba and requested an interview. Baba allowed him to see him at Rahuri on 11 April. And when he told Baba how much he would like to stay with him, Baba remarked, "You have come at a very good time. Come and join me at once. You will see and know who I am." He returned to Madras and, after settling his affairs, came to stay at Meherabad on 5 May. Baba nicknamed him Swamji and assigned him duties in the Mad Ashram, helping Pleader and Baidu. Manek Ranji also assisted Baba in bathing the Mad and musts when he visited on the 9th. After Baba moved from Rahuri to Meherabad, there were discussions about shifting the Westerners there from Nasik so that they could participate in his work. From the middle of May, Baba began holding a series of meetings with the group to decide their future plans. For one thing, the monsoons were approaching, and Baba seemed to want to change. Baba arrived in Nasik at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, 10 May 1937, with Adi Sr. and Bhagirath. At a meeting the next day, Baba stated, "There is always a struggle between the spirit and the flesh, and the soul witnesses the struggle. If the spirit succumbs to the flesh easily, without protesting, then there is no hope. If the spirit gives in after struggling, there is hope. But if the spirit wins over the flesh, victory is eternal. Yet it is the struggle itself that gives perfection. So let us struggle now. I want you all to be honest and sincere to the highest degree in what you say now. Absolutely honest. Do not say yes just to please me. There is a problem to be faced, one big problem. During the monsoon rains, conditions are almost impossible for traveling back and forth between here and Meherabad. The river at Rahuri overflows. Once Rustam was almost swept away. As Indians cannot stand England, so you all cannot stand India. In Devonshire, I remember Dr. Ghani sleeping under 7 blankets with boots on and a hot water bag under his arm. He looked like an Egyptian mummy. I could not exact any work from the boys, Mandali there. They wanted to help, but they could not stand it. In the same way, you will all want to help me at Ahmednagar, but might not be able to stand it there. At Meherabad, no running water, no flush system. It is like Bandardara. But at Bandardara, Kaka was there to look after you and to see to details. Sorry. The climate is good, and also the drinking water. You will all love it, but the question is whether you will be able to stand it in the monsoon. Ideal for the East and West is Portofino. Ideal for the East and West is Portofino. I could start a type of ashram like Rahuri there if we have the money. But Ahmednagar is also good, though comforts you will not have. I must be free to work and not have to continually see to your comforts and discomforts. Some came here with the understanding of staying 6 months, some 1 year, some 5. So if those of you want to go and come back, now is the best time to go. If you do not want to go, Baba does not want to force you to leave. You will help me and my work by being quite honest with yourselves and with me. Think very carefully, because if it is Ahmednagar, then I will have to see to the move quickly before the monsoon starts, which should be in a month. I do not find fault with any of you. As I said, England for Westerners and India for Easterners. They cannot live in England. You have stood India very well so far, excellently. I begin my work in one place. When my work in one place is finished, I start building another. And so the work goes on. It is all the same wherever I am. The work never suffers or stops. Pendu is always prepared to pull down the ashram at Meherabad. Work I can do anywhere, but whether it is to be in the East or West, the circle must be with me wherever I am. Portofino or Meherabad, we have to see where it is easier for me. The boys like Italy. I think of my work. At present, there is too much traveling between places, almost every 5 days. I work universally. If you think of me, if you love me, you are sharing my work. It is the link that matters. The engine pulls and the carriages go with it because they are linked with the engine. I do my work whether there is freedom or not, but it goes easier if there are no hindrances. Therefore, be honest in your answers. At Ahmednagar, the food will be the same as it is here, and there will also be servants. There will be more scorpions, but fewer snakes. The most difficult part will be the bathing restrictions and conditions. Dr. Nailu will look after your health. There must be harmony. If there is no harmony, then better that all of you pack off. And this is a good place to stop for next week. We're ending on page 1838.
Thank you, Eva. I
You're
have to
Oh.
stop, so. good-
Let's stop the recording.